Fly far like a bird, following your dreams, but always know where your nest is. Good afternoon, students, teachers, staff members, and families. It is my honor today to represent Fort Vancouver High School in the class of 2021. I want to start off by thanking all the wonderful teachers and staff members who have facilitated the growth of this class. Without the countless amount of effort and time they have put into our learning, we wouldn't be celebrating this memorable academic milestone today. We have come a long way from starting high school as little middle school graduates to this point in our lives where we are mature young adults. I felt welcome the moment I first stepped through the main doors, with the flags above me representing the rich diversity and the multitude of various cultures. I knew immediately that this is where I belonged. My parents raised me to love and appreciate people for who they are and to always look at the beauty within a person. We live in a world where judgment has become the norm. People who are different from the majority are oppressed and marginalized. I am confident that this generation will strive to respect people for their differences, love one another, support each other, and stand up for what is right. One thing that has always motivated me throughout my high school experience is the story of my family's migration to America. They come from a small and beautiful country within the heart of Europe named Bosnia and Herzegovina. About 30 years ago, Bosnia was forced to participate in a war because of an attack from neighboring countries, which resulted in a genocide. They were discriminated against because of their religion. It was devastating. Mothers lost their sons, children lost their parents, and schools were bombed to the ground. Many slept on the floor at night to avoid getting shot. Many were left disabled. The curriculum in schools switched from math, English, and science to survival and self-defense. People hid from the aggressors and recognized the sound and smell of grenades, had limited food and water, and so forth. Women were separated from their husbands. Unborn children were left without the warmth of a father. Half of the men were enslaved, others were immediately killed, and some never returned to their families. My dad was 18 when he was imprisoned in one of the many concentration camps for almost 3 years. He is one of the 3 people who survived and out of thousands of others and is now witness to all the victims. We are forever grateful that he survived because without him, I would not be standing here today. He is the best Baba in the world. He survived, but the war murdered his youth. Every premature line on the faces of the survivors represents a moment where their childhood was shattered. One of the best times of their lives was taken away from them, and thousands of others. The ignorance, acts of discrimination, and selfishness spread across the country crushed their spirits. 5 years later, at age 24, my mom came to America with her mom, brother, and sister. My dad came alone shortly before my mom. Crushed from the burden placed upon their souls after the war, they came to seek a new and better life. I know that many of you have similar family stories. My mom and her family came with a bag that had refugee written on it. When they arrived at the airport in Chicago, my uncle went to a little bakery near the gates to buy bread. The woman at the counter asked him what he wanted to purchase. He couldn't form a sentence of English other than saying hello, help, and buy. Without saying anything, he just showed her a handful of quarters. Her eyes released a river of emotions that words couldn't describe. She knew. She gave him a large bag of small dinner rolls and he brought it to my mom, aunt, and grandma. They shared their food with the other refugees who would soon be transported to different states in the US, not knowing how life would treat them. My uncle is truly one of my greatest heroes, inspiring me to be a better person and to never give up trying. Imagine losing your friends at 17. Imagine having to learn a whole new language in the span of a couple of months just to be able to fulfill basic needs. My uncle was a teenager entering a world of strangers, not knowing what he was destined to experience. My family came here for a reason, and that was to give my siblings, cousins, and I a life that they couldn't have. I know that many of your families did the same, and we will never take that for granted. Fort Vancouver graduates, our generation has the opportunity to change the future for the better, to enforce kindness and empathy, to spread peace and love. A random baker in Chicago showed my uncle what American kindness looks like, which made my entire family feel welcomed in this land. We can be like that baker. We can show that kindness, that empathy, that hope. Now, before I go, I would like to say a special thank you to my parents in Bosnian. Mama I babo, da vas dragi Allah nagradi svakim dobrom za sav vaš trud koji ste uložili u mene. Riječi ne mogu opisati koliko sam zahvalna što vas imam. I masu selam za moju Bosnu i Hercegovinu.